we got a new meme where Ferrari is the one to ruin race strategies. Alpine coming in with "Hold my beer." Hello and welcome back to F1 Fan Fiction, a show about F1 race reviews and F1 community interviews. This is the Canadian Grand Prix. I think we're having this race after a few years because of the whole COVID issues. But boy, oh boy, glad to be here. We are your hosts. I am Akash.
And I'm Sarang.
And let's get into it. Before we do anything, I wanna let's talk about some stats. Some stats that we've seen over the race weekend. Actually, you know what? Even before that, I'm gonna say the internet has not disappointed us with voting Latifi as the driver of the day. And I say this because they never actually showed the driver of the day until after the whole thing was over and revealed Charles was the driver. So,
yeah, by the way, for those who don't know, there has been going, an ongoing conspiracy as such to, vote Latifi as the driver of the day because, of course, he deserves it, right?
Yeah.
He's, after all, Mr. Consistent, right? Because he has gotten the last position consistently.
Yeah. Inconsistency to perform is also a form of consistency. That's your t-shirt code for the day. But I, if I'm not wrong, I guess probably this was his first home race. I'll have to probably check that, but I think this was his first home race. And having said that, some interesting stats is Friday practice marked 15 years to Vettel's debut. 15 years back, Hamilton won his first race ever here at Canada. And that accent was because there's more Punjabis in Canada than in case you were wondering. Anyways, some interesting commentary stuff that I heard during the last few laps is we have seen some major upsets and some last lap overtakes. A few references to one back in 1991. So it should be 2011 with Button. There was one race where Nigel Mansell was waving to the audience and was overtaken on the last straight. And when they said that Sainz was chewing down or trying to get on Max, and I was wondering maybe we would see something like that. But some Max positions gained, plus 14 by Leclerc. Brilliant drive from P19 to P5. Max positions lost, minus 12 by K-Mag. What was happening there? Alonso eventually ended up getting his 5-second penalty for weaving on the straight, or dare I say, horizontally porpoising on that straight and dropped to P9. And an interesting one is Red Bull Racing wins a 6th straight race since 2013. Only second best after Vettel's 9-race streak. So that's something going on for Red Bull Racing. But Sarang,
yep.
On to your race thoughts, and I want you to sort of dive us into the whole RBR versus Ferrari giant weekend.
Well, I think today it was entirely Red Bull's game. I feel like honestly, when I started watching the race, or even before the race, I was quite confident that Max is gonna win because, I mean, his main competitors are not there, Perez and Leclerc, so there's nobody to stop him. Sainz is, of course, a good driver, no slander against him, but he hasn't performed as well as Leclerc, we can say, at least this season. So he was clearly not a threat. Yeah, I mean, we did see some action towards the end, but that's also debatable because you could also say that Max was probably just managing his tires to make sure keep some life fire towards the end. So honestly speaking, I think it was pretty much a slam dunk by Red Bull this time. And I think they are just killing it. This season, it seemed at the very start that they are probably too overconfident, and they probably were at the start, but they have pretty easily caught up with Ferrari by now.
True. We did see Max, I think, dominating free practice 1 and maybe even 2. I can't remember FP2 results. But we had like Max on the top.
Mhm.
Even the commentators said, with the way Ferrari's been doing, who is there right now to sort of stop RBR domination? Maybe a
Mhm.
Hamilton media interview coming statement that so much winning from Max is going to bore the audience.
That might come up soon, I guess. Yeah.
But I don't know why RBR sort of is again like it's just all toss up in the air. But Perez losing his car, potential gearbox issue, which he did sort of confirm during the post race interview.
Mhm.
But I haven't checked like the details of it.
Mhm.
I don't know. Is RBR sort of putting all efforts into Max's car at this point and just on purpose sabotaging Perez so there is no driver contention at the top?
Yeah, right. I mean, considering Christian Horner, considering Helmut Marko, considering RBR, it's, this is within the realms of possibilities, very
Yeah, right.
honestly.
Yeah, right.
Who knows, man? Like, okay, so honestly, let me put it out there. I am totally Team Perez this championship. Let me make it very clear. Uh,
We have
because,
camps forming.
yeah, I mean, Perez is doing great, man. I
Yeah.
love seeing him these days. It always till now he seemed like a very boring uncle on the track, but suddenly he's like turning into a Chad. Like, it's awesome how his confidence has grown with the car, how comfortable he's gotten. Of course, like today was not his day, and yesterday he did mess up in the wets by kind of hitting the walls, but at the same time they also were like splitting their strategies yesterday because they put him on inters while Max was still on wets. So, who knows? That was also probably something nefarious going on there. But
Yeah.
man, sad for Perez. I'm more sad that like Max is taking it away. With the championship, like the lead has increased even more now. And I'm sure since this lead is there between Perez and Max, we'll see more team orders as the season goes ahead.
There is definitely an RBR camp forming within the camp. Because
Mm-hmm.
even with the post celebrations and stuff, right? Like it's a huddle of Marco, Christian Horner, Christian Horner's wife, and
Mm-hmm.
Max's girlfriend. Like all sort of like come together, and it's like a good happy family. And I'm like, I just don't see anyone from Perez camp here. So obviously nothing's going on. It's just a very informally very formal camp is what the
Mm-hmm.
feeling that I get. But yeah, man. Yeah, Perez, I think he's in a good mind space and a good form at this point to bring the fight on. The way sort of Sainz was putting that fight on
Mm-hmm.
Max during those last laps. He had new tires. He had DRS every
Mm-hmm.
single lap of those last 10 laps. But man,
Which
oh
is
man,
utterly useless, by the way.
exactly, because the RBR was like faster on those straights,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and kudos to also Max for sort of like using um, some brilliant battery management and fighting through that to just keep science at bay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know what it's very weird. Like Ferrari, it didn't seem like they had the engine advantage at all today. Maybe it was the setup. Maybe it was possibly they sacrificed some, straight line speed in favor of some, performance at corners. But clearly, Sainz was not at all even he was not even troubling Max very honestly with his DRS. He was quite comfortable. Max was pretty comfortable. It always seemed like he's right there if Max fucked up, but yeah, that clearly didn't happen. Sad day for Sainz. I mean, honestly, okay. So one of the commentators mentioned this, and that's when I realized that Sainz has actually not won a race till now.
Yeah,
Because
he's stuck at P2 forever. He is.
Yep. And even if he wins it, it'll definitely be with a penalty or something like that. So like nobody will know that he won. Uh,
Yeah, his first win has to come that time
yeah, of
for
course.
sure.
Yeah. But Leclerc, I think Leclerc, even with the engine penalty and everything, starting at P19, he did pretty good.
Yeah, I guess like that's the new Ferrari plan. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously they can't keep the cars working when they are all the way up. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like toss them all the way to the back. They'll power through the field, and at least that'll make the drivers happy that at least we used the Ferrari in a good way, rather than
That's right.
complaining that we weren't able to keep P1. So at this point, I think there's a new strategy forming at Ferrari camp.
Right, that makes sense. You cannot lose from P1 to P4 when you never had P1, right?
And this proves your Tifosi tears theory,
Yes.
because Leclerc was P19. There were enough Tifosi tears to bring him up to P5.
Right. And right when he reached right up till Ocon, they ran out of it. So
Because they
again,
were
he was
happy.
just stuck. Yeah. And then he was just stuck there forever.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Man.
Dude, but you gotta give it to Charles, man. Like at this point, I feel like Ferrari is completely to blame. Otherwise, he has found his complete mojo. He's extracting everything out of that car, even with like a debauched 5.3 second bad pit stop. He's sort of like powering through the field up onto P5 at this point, which is just too brilliant. I don't know. Again, like I want to open this up. Like I don't know if it's an attribute of the Canadian Grand Prix, but like he struggled behind that car of Ocon. Like he just wasn't able to overtake him.
It was very odd. I don't know. Like clearly overtakes were happening, and Charles was part of it, right? Like he was like doing many overtakes, and I don't know why. I think it's mainly the Alpine straight line speed. A lot of people have been talking about this. Their straight line speed is really good. And that's why, like, Alonso, I mean, not this race, but in previous races, like in Monaco, and I think there was another race where people were stuck behind him. And that's basically that's the main reason why he is able to keep people behind them, because Alpine has a very good straight line speed. And
True.
I think that's what, and that, again, further exemplifies that Ferrari no more is the fastest engine out there on that track. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. And speaking of Alpine, right? Like, I think last race too. If you would observe, like Alonso was in the quote unquote limelight because there were some sort of expectations coming out of Alonso to either be on the podium at Baku, but obviously the other cars outshone him, so he wasn't able to. But like at this race, both the drivers showed the true potential of Alpine.
Yeah.
And we got a new meme where, Ferrari is the one to ruin race strategies. Alpine coming in with hold my beer.
Oh man, yes. Okay, let's talk about this. Alpine. Okay, first of all, Alonso. P2 in qualification, that was insanely good. I think throughout the weekend, FP1, FP2, FP3, they have been pretty fast. It was pretty clear that they might be right up there in at least top 5 somewhere. And of course, he delivered that P2. All his experience, since I don't even remember when he's been driving, but all the experience that he's gathered. Like today I was talking to a friend of mine, like, who hasn't watched F1 in a while, and I was telling him that, Alonso is P2, and he's like, wait, what? Is he still racing? Hasn't he retired?
No. I think he's the new Kimi, where he retires with Kimi's kids at this point. Because the way he's going at like 40, like I think like he's the oldest on the track at like the oldest person to ever race, sort of thing, the number of years. So and he delivers a P2. So
yeah, man, brilliant. And like even after that, even in the start of the race, he was able to keep his position for at least 4 laps, I think, right? After which Sainz overtook him. Of course, he was not at the right place, so like he was gonna be overtaken by somebody. But still, I think regardless, he drove pretty good race. But Alpine completely let him down.
Oh yeah, dude. Alonso versus Hamilton was happening up all the way on that front, and I was like, wow, this feels like so much more 2007-8 situation when these two were fighting each other, and like it's just the back of that era. But strategy wise, man, like we get the safety car, that runs into the wall for I don't know if he was on that. What's that show where they tell you what to do on the radio and then you have to just do it, even how silly it is, right? So I think like it was one of those moments where the guys on the radio just said like, now floor it, and he did, and he ran into the wall. So anyways, the safety car was out. They waited for like so long to get Alonso in, and when they decided to get him in, it was already time for the safety car to go, so they had to stay out. It was just a mess.
No, it was a mess overall. I mean, yes, that safety car definitely was one of them, but there were many opportunities, like the first virtual safety car that was for I think Perez. Then there was, I mean, it was very weird that they were just not pitting him. Like everybody else is pitting left and right, and I don't know. They probably thought that they'll just keep the position. I don't know what was going on. Did they think it was Monaco? I mean, I don't understand.
Maybe they have too much faith in him creating a train and not letting anyone go ahead. That's like doesn't matter. But
it made no sense. The strategy was like outright stupid. Man, it's sad to see him like drop through the ranks, and then of course he finished P6, but not really, right? I think he got a penalty as well.
Yes, 5 seconds for that horizontal porpoising. But they pitted him at lap 29, and for a moment there, the thought was this is probably going to be a one-stopper where they put on HUDs and then he goes all the way to the end.
So I'm just seeing the charts for Alonso. Like they literally had the worst possible strategy they could decide. So he was on 28 laps on mediums. Okay, like what? Anyways, then he was 21 laps on hards, and then 21 laps on mediums again. So basically, they overdrove the mediums. They didn't use the hards enough, and then at the last end they got probably like just the right amount of laps on the medium.
A two-stopper with the minimum laps on hards. That's
Yep, exactly. I've never seen a strategy like this.
That is me playing the F1 online game the first day of my. This tire feels good.
Yeah, man. It's very weird. It feels like Ferrari basically just passed the mantle to Alpine. This is like, carry the torch for us.
And then at some point, Alonso wanted team orders. Wasn't given. Was asked to just fight it out of Ocon. They wanted to keep Charles behind them. Obviously, that didn't work. There was some commentary about like Alonso probably having an engine issue at that point too. It was like everything happening at one moment all together. Like just I don't know.
Yeah, man. Weird strategy and weird calls as well. Anyways, Alpine has always been a mess. I think we've talked about this before as well, and it's very weird considering that Alpine is basically Renault, and the amount of money they put in into the development and everything. I think they're the third largest spenders on the grid or something after Ferrari and Red Bull. Fourth, sorry, after Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull.
I think they need to now put some money into their strategists.
Whatever.
But Ocon had a good weekend, right? Ocon at least was able to annoy Leclerc for a few laps. Was there something happening with Hamilton as well?
He tried. I think when Alonso was basically in P2, or rather in P3 when Sainz had already overtaken him. He was talking on the radio, asking his engineer, where is Ocon? And he's like, right ahead of Hamilton. And he's like, so you know what we need to do? Basically alluding to the...
He's a lion.
Like a lion.
He's a lion. Yeah, the line was
But that
tamed
totally
yesterday.
failed. Yeah, totally failed. Because
I don't
Hamilton just went by,
Yeah, I don't think the radio message was delivered to Ocon.
Yeah.
Uh,
If only.
if only, correct.
Yeah.
Onto some serious topic.
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
share the presentation that you got.
Sure. Yeah. Let me bring up my PowerPoint presentation. Let's go to the first one. And it's basically a 4-panel one with 2.5 minutes. Oh, by the way, anybody who's on audio, we have links to these memes in the show notes, so check it out there.
This is one of those, I think, like the Gasly / Ocon moment where like they had to pit him at the end. Remember, I forget like what race it was earlier this year. They had to pit him because of FIA regulations, right? That you have to pit sort of thing.
Yeah, it clearly seemed that way. So like K-Mag, just so that people know, basically it's like 4-panel image from 2.5 Men where Haas is saying, I think I forgot something, and then it's like, if you forgot, then it wasn't important, and then Haas is like, yeah, you're right, and then it's basically K-Mag, standing in the rain. Waiting for 50-lap old hard tires. Man, it was... yeah, they messed up their race, right? Haas completely... Yeah. They had such a good result in qualification and then just went all downhill from there.
True.
Anyways, let's go to the next one. If this works.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a gif of the truck almost hitting the bollard, but not really. And then with the caption, Sainz trying to overtake Max. That's exactly how it seemed like.
Infinity loop never happening thingy. Yeah.
Right. Let's see the next one. Which is the very famous Indian disappointed fan meme. With Hamilton in 2021 when he gets P3 with the disappointed meme. And then the next one is Hamilton in 2022 when he gets a P3, and that's basically that meme where that guy goes crazy celebrating in P3.
Yeah, it is that.
It was so
even his post-race commentary interview sort of thing was, it was a brilliant weekend. We got P3, back on podium, happy to be here, sort of thing. Like, this is exactly what it feels.
Yep. And it was his first podium this season, right? Which was quite odd to see. But yeah, finally you got it.
Yeah.
All right. The last one is
today. An otter trying to... No, this is not a sloth trying to...
Sloth, slowly stamping the paper. Yeah. Man, all of the pit stops were so slow and terrible. Like, I think McLaren had a terrible pit stop. They were trying to do a double stack and completely failed. Who else? Alonso had a shitty pit stop.
They botched Ricardo's pit stop. Leclerc's pit stop was botched,
And I think there was one more. Somebody's tire they forgot to bring out. I think, was it some Haas, right? I forget who it was. Yeah, it was all... Bad. Yeah, probably I don't know why. We have been seeing this theme recurring again and again. By the way, we are at the end of the memes. We don't have anything else more. Yeah. But yeah, continuing on to the topic of pit stops. It's weird. This season I'm seeing overall, there are a lot of botched pit stops or a lot of slow pit stops. I don't even recall seeing like a sub 2-second pit stop this season at all. Forget sub 2 second. I haven't even seen like a sub 2.5 second pit stop. And it's not at all common anymore. Clearly the larger tires are probably playing into it, and also some of the regulations that FIA had gotten last season, if you recall, to kind of nerf Red Bull's pit stops. So that I think is probably playing into the picture, and it's kind of weird that suddenly pit stops have become like a weakness for most teams now, all of a sudden.
But I'm fine with it as long as it's a consistency across the board. I think there was a 2.3 or a 2.8, something like that yesterday with maybe Max. But again, like I think it was still a 2.8.
Mhm.
But as long as it's across the board, no advantages gained. But it's lower than everything that we've seen before.
Mhm. Yep.
We spoke about sort of like the Alpine, Red Bull, Ferrari, but you know what? I mean, overall, to be honest, it was a dry of a race. It wasn't like
Mhm.
something that was extraordinary.
Definitely
But
not.
yeah, right. But there were these moments where
Mhm.
drivers outshone themselves,
Mhm.
and I was having fun watching some of these drivers. Like,
Mhm.
let's start with the race start. So Perez, Ocon, and Russell had a brilliant race start. I think FIS or the Sky Sports have started showing this thing where, like, at the end of lap 4 or 5, they sort of show maximum positions gained by drivers, like after the first few laps,
Right.
and they show the first three drivers, like the top 3 drivers,
Mhm.
and these 3 were there.
Right.
And you saw like +2, +2, +3 sort of thing, which is brilliant, and especially like having named like an Ocon where,
Mhm.
sure,
Mhm.
the car's getting better, but
Mhm.
you're not used to seeing this name there, right? So it's
Yeah.
brilliant. Zhou, oh man, Zhou for me yesterday was
Oh yeah, I've like frankly become a fan of his. Like he's been doing so good,
yeah
especially in his rookie year. He outqualified Bottas second time, I think, right? This time,
yeah
as
I
well
think
as
so, yeah.
last race as well. And of course, last few races he has been having terrible luck with like DNFs and engine failures and all that. But finally he finished the race. Even though he is a pay driver, not really, because it's not like his dad is funding his career. Like he
Yeah,
has big sponsors, but
sponsors,
then
yeah.
that's the case with a lot other drivers too. Like for example, Perez has a very big backing of Carlos Slim, who's
Yeah,
basically like the richest guy in
and even
Mexico.
Telcel is because of him, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't exactly call Zhao as a pay driver, because it's not like he is there only because of his daddy's money.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, sure. Like it makes sense if the only countryman from your country is reaching that level. Companies are gonna sponsor you
yeah.
to try and get you that seat. So I think that's fair, and it's not like
And
really.
I don't going the extra mile by saying that if he was to get into Max's RBR or like
Mhm,
Hamilton's Mercedes from last year,
mhm,
he will show like a podium finishing result too. Because
mhm.
I saw this one overtake that he did on Vettel,
Uh-huh.
and it was so brilliant to watch because I think like
Mhm,
somewhere around lap 57ish or whatever, he completely towed himself behind Vettel,
mhm, mhm,
launched himself from Vettel's DRS,
mhm.
and then sort of like late braked the way you see Daniel late brake at
Mhm.
his EA career
Right.
point, and then overtaking Vettel. And I was like, dude, this guy is in his rookie season
Yeah.
overtaking a 4-time world champion, and it is brilliant to watch.
Yep. Though while we are praising him so much, there
Uh-huh.
was this one really funny moment during the race.
Uh-huh.
On the radio, I think he was a bit frustrated by like the lack of power.
Okay.
So he comes onto the radio, and it sounded a lot like they raced me too hard. He was like, oh, there's no power to overtake. It seemed like a kid complaining to his mom, like, he doesn't have enough candy or something.
At least I'm happy that he got his car to the finish line, crossed
Uh-huh.
that, and was able to show his talent. Because
Mhm,
brilliant
mhm,
drive from him. The other one that I wanna bring up is Stroll. He
mhm,
was the Canadian Ministry of Defense yesterday.
mhm.
Your thoughts on Stroll yesterday?
Yeah, he did so good, man. I was pleasantly surprised. Like till now, at least this season. Okay, I mean we have kind of defended Stroll a lot in previous seasons, but this season I think he has been pretty shit. Very honestly,
Yeah,
I think today was finally the day where he kind of proved himself a bit. At
yeah.
least he got and he probably got more comfortable in the
Or
car,
more
or
patriotic, maybe.
yeah, exactly. Who knows? He drove a brilliant race, man. Like he was defending so well. There was a train behind him, right? Like, I think it was
Yeah.
3 cars behind him.
Yeah.
It was Stroll, Zhou, Sonoda, Ricardo, and Vettel, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Quite fun. At least one Canadian proved, made his country proud a bit.
Yeah, because the other one knew that the internet's trying to do that for him. So
yeah. He didn't have to do anything on track.
But you know what? I want to bring this moment up where Gasly almost sort of runs into Stroll. And then this happened like just before that pit entrance straight.
Oh, yeah.
And Gasly entered into the pits. Now, at that point, that confused me. Right? Like, was Gasly always meaning to go into the pits? And if he was, why was he fighting Stroll? Or
it was very weird.
or at that point, like, was it like, oh, I'm so late on braking that I'm already in the pits. Might as well, like, let's just, go into the pits.
Yeah, it was very weird. First of all, I was super confused. So when they showed the replay, it seemed like he was just gonna crash into Stroll straight up, and then suddenly he just goes straight into the pits. So it was so bizarre. It almost seemed like, in a lot of games, like when you you cross a certain exact location, the game takes over and the animation starts, like the cutscene starts. It's exactly how it looked to me.
Yes, that is exactly what I was thinking. That is so true.
Like, he just crossed that line and then he just had to go through it because the cutscene started.
Yes, on point there. But the other good thing coming out of Stroll was he finished in points, P10, 64 or lap 65, overtaking Daniel to launch himself into that 1 point position. A good weekend from him. But speaking of Daniel, forgetting whatever's happened so far, I personally feel he had a good weekend.
Yeah, man. I think Ricardo suddenly, it seems like he's starting to, kind of get comfortable with that car, because Azerbaijan he was doing good. Same thing we saw today as well. That's great. I mean, I'm happy, honestly, because it's almost cringe watching Daniel at this point. Like, every time I see him like way behind P15, P16, my body goes into like this cringe reaction and just ignore, and I think that he's not there on the track because I can't see him there. It's so sad to see him there, man. But yeah, overall I think today he had a pretty decent race. Of course, like, his race messed up at the end, but at least he tried from his side. So that's there.
True. I think like even during race start he was all the way up to P5 or maybe P6 if I'm being too.
Oh, really? I did not notice that. Interesting.
He was there, and he was. I think yesterday he was completely outshining Norris.
Yeah, totally. Of course, I think Norris was way behind. He was, I think, at one point he was the dead last or second last, I guess.
And Norris did he even get some penalty even after?
Oh yeah, he also got a penalty. I think he got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I don't know when. I didn't exactly catch that, but
maybe he was missing the party because like the double stacking that they were just relaxing on Daniel's tires. But
yeah, man. It's great though. Like, I'm happy for Daniel. I hope he continues this form for the rest of the season and gets better. GIT GUD, Daniel. Right.
With the thick Australian throat. Yeah.
While we're talking about drivers that outshone themselves, let's also talk about Vettel a bit.
Go for it.
Who clearly didn't, but I think there was some blame to be placed on Aston Martin, I guess, this time.
Why?
It was very weird. First of all, for the qualification. So apparently, I don't know if you heard the radio right after Q1 when they told him that you're out. He was super frustrated, saying that. So basically, I think they changed the tire pressures than what they had set earlier in FP3, which makes no sense. Why would you do that? Like,
why
and
not?
I guess Vettel didn't know because he was he was actually confused, and he was like asking them, like, did we change it, and why did we change it? So first of all, his qualification got messed up, and I think even the strategy that he was on was pretty bizarre. He also was like following this very weird strategy similar to this guy Alonso. Once again, let me take a look. Where he was also like 51 laps on that hards at the end, which makes no sense. Like, he was 6 laps on the medium, and then he had a super early pit stop. I don't know exactly why. Then they put him onto hards, where he was on, again, just 14 laps on the hards, and then 51 laps on hards again. Which I don't know what that strategy was at all.
Sure. I'm not surprised, because again, a conspiracy theory coming out here. Papa Stroll's paid money. For patriotism to win.
That's somewhat possible. Very honestly, with the P6 that he got last race and the kind of overtakes that he did last race, I'm pretty sure that.
And Canada again being like his comfortable spot.
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
They probably just nerfed him. Yeah.
I just want to keep creating these conspiracy theories.
Yep. Why not?
Well, I want to see how the news sort of starts bubbling up now with whatever we saw coming after Baku on Mercedes trying to change the regulations into their favor. No back pain this race.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know what? I'm kind of glad that FIA bought in that regulation. I mean, the new directive for setting like the maximum porpoise. I don't exactly know what exactly it is, but basically the gist of it is that they are now basically measuring some metric which measures the horizontal porpoising that these drivers are facing. The vertical. Sorry, see, dude, you confused me with the horizontal porpoising. Thanks. Vertical porpoising. And I think they have basically set a limit on that, so that teams have to sacrifice the performance to reduce porpoising, and that's a good thing. Definitely, I'm glad that if I didn't fall for the Mercedes tricks to try and nerf the other teams and whatever. But I think you're right. Like, where's the back pain now?
No one's talking about it. All of a sudden, it's gone.
Right? P3, P4. It all again. It goes back to our point what we discussed last time, right? Like, I want to give them the benefit of doubt that I'm sure they were in pain. It's not all fake, but there was definitely some acting going on, or at least some over exaggeration going on, probably to prove their point, to hammer their point to show that nerf other teams, so that for the health and safety of a travel, blah blah blah. Anyways,
there's this other meme floating around post Baku where it's like, oh, we have issue X. Once we resolve that, we're gonna be fighting competition, and it builds up and it builds up, and then there is it's like Bahrain they spoke this, then Baku they spoke this, and it builds up, and then Abu Dhabi they say the gravitational forces put on by the sun and the moon are affecting the car in so and so way. Once we eliminate the sun and the moon, we'll be fighting for the title. But anyway,
but anyways, I think they did pretty well today. I think this was the best Mercedes' result till date, in the season. What was it? P3, P4, right?
Yeah.
Too good.
Hamilton back on podium. I think his second podium for the season. He sounded super happy. He was finally addressing the fans. I think 183 or 180x podium for Hamilton in his career.
We've lost count at this point.
Exactly. What was your Mercedes, if not Hamilton, Mercedes highlight from the race week?
From the race week, I think For me, it has to be the when Max was rejoining, right after the pit stop.
Yes.
It suddenly I felt like it was transported into last year.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
I was having this PTSD of them crashing. I thought was this going to be Silverstone Part 2 or
And I don't know if Hamilton did it on purpose or not, but like you could see him sort of coming in a bit more onto the curb as Max was coming out. Oh man.
Oh, it was fun.
But you know what? I saw an image on Dank, and I don't know if it's true, but like Dank has this one image where post that curved straight that goes into like a chicane and then sort of bounces out back onto an outward C before the U-turn. There's a marshal waving blue flags to Hamilton to let Max by.
Oh wow! Oh, harsh. Oh man,
that's gotta hurt.
I just want to imagine what would happen if they crash today. What would I'm pretty sure Twitter would just blow up first of all.
Giga Chad Ham fans. Hang on, you know what? Let's point this out because I think like at least for the F1 part, you are way more active on Twitter than I am for us. And these fans, man, have gone mental to the point where some of it is just pure toxicity.
Yeah. For sure, man. I mean, I've noticed this a lot that like on Twitter, especially Hamilton fans. I mean, I don't want to single anybody out, but that's the trend that I have seen in general, and thus I'm pointing it out. That it's been months since Abu Dhabi. Like everybody's past it. Okay, shit happened. Everybody agrees. Whatever went bad. Like Michael Massey fucked up. Yeah, sure. But it's not exactly Verstappen's fault at it. Like he didn't tell Massey to do it. People are still shouting about it. I don't get it, man. Just move on. It's done. Concentrate on this
you can't get over.
Yeah, man. It's very weird. Like a lot of times it feels to me that like a lot of Hamilton supporters are just there because of the cult of personality and not because of they're actually interested in the sport, and they just keep drumming their own beat regardless of what is happening, and it's very odd. I don't know. It's I don't enjoy going onto Twitter very honestly for F1 because it feels like such a toxic place. Like everybody's just slandering each other, just slinging shit at each other pretty much, and
freedom of speech, man.
Of course,
we're probably gonna get a new owner who supports all of that. So
yes, of course.
Anyways, man, as much as annoying it was for the past few years, post safety car, Hamilton was concerned about his tires and the battle that he might face going into the end, towards the end of the race. It was good to watch. It was nostalgia in some way, but it was I was rooting for Hamilton yesterday for some reason. It was fun. It was fun.
No, it was fun. He was driving brilliantly. And one awesome thing that happened, which I love that happened, is Hamilton is now 77 points. And Bottas is on 44 points. So they are like basically trading their numbers.
The love for each other continues.
Exactly.
Nice.
The brotherhood is strong.
This is good. At some point, Russell was ahead of Lewis. And I probably thought there's going to be team orders coming in. But I think it was just like a pit stop not done sort of situation. So that never happened. But Russell too yesterday, man. I don't think he put a foot wrong.
Yeah, man. He, of course, he is now named as Mr. Consistency because he clearly is been in top 5 almost every race. I think this is one. Yeah, right? All races.
No. All
right?
races, yes.
Exactly. So he's been doing so good. Like, I think he has completely proven that he deserves that position. I think Mercedes, struck gold, honestly. Like, a lot of people had questions about why are they letting Bottas go, like, why break a winning formula and everything. But sometimes it makes sense. And I think it completely makes sense from Mercedes' point of view with, Hamilton, of course, he is great, but he is towards the end of his career. So, they need to invest in the new talent, like that they need to find the new Hamilton per se for their team. And I think they have struck gold with Russell here.
Yeah, agree. With the new regulations, just one topic that I also want to bring up is just some amazing trains that were forming yesterday. I think the first one was Albon, Bottas, Leclerc, Norris, and Stroll. Albon leading the whole pack. The funny part for me was they went into the pits also together. All of them entering the pits together, all of them leaving the pits together. It was just some bunch of kindergartens holding hands and going down the track. Another one that you've already mentioned, we've got the Defense Ministry of Canada, Stroll, Zhou, Tsunoda, Rick and Vettel train. Starting with an Aston Martin, ending with an Aston Martin. Good train there. And the last one that I noticed was an Ocon train. Ocon, Alonso, Bottas, Zhou train in the last lap. So overall, close racing, all within a second of each other. So just super close racing, super hard DRS sessions that all of them got for an overtaking opportunity. I'm liking the new regulations as much as it's still forming these groups, but I like the way some pack is able to keep close to each other.
Right. There's one thing that a lot of people have pointed out, and I do agree with it, is that it's great that now cars are at least able to follow each other. But there's still one major thing that F1 needs to fix is the size of the cars. It's that's one of the big issues right now. So on most tracks, even if cars are able to follow each other, like today, it was clear that cars can maintain that, within a second distance to the car ahead and comfortably, without damaging their tires, without overheating their car. But still, it's still difficult to overtake at a lot of times because the cars are so wide and so long that still wheel-to-wheel racing is still somewhat difficult at this point. And that's something that needs to change. I mean, I understand that with aerodynamics being the main factor these days, they require more surface area. Thus, the cars are longer and wider. But I don't know, some area of improvement there. I hope that if I continues with their attempt at making racing better and try to make these cars a little smaller than what they are right now, just so that we see more wheel-to-wheel racing. I don't know.
That's a good point, folks. Let us know your thoughts on this parting comment and what should be done with the car. Find us anywhere at the rate F1 fanfiction. DM us. Be informal because you've heard the whole episode on how it was. If you want to be formal, reach out to us at contact us at the rate F1 fanfiction.com. We are obviously always open to growing the community. So yeah, reach out to us, talk to us, engage with us, do whatever you want, to be honest. Share this with your friends, your enemies. We will see you at Silverstone in 2 weeks with the new Merc that's found itself. We'll see what it does at its home Grand Prix. Until then, we are your hosts, signing off.
Bye-bye.